Alright, so let's get into the next topic, which is the motion in the magnetic field. So before getting into this topic, I'll have to explain some basics about resolving a vector. Okay, for instance, consider these as two axes. Let's say this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, so now we have a vector A. So how do you write this vector? How do you represent it mathematically? We write it as magnitude of A times its direction, that is the unit vector. Okay, so now if I were to resolve this vector into its components, what would be its components? So that depends on which angle, also which that also depends on the angle. Okay, so the angle, whether we are taking from y-axis or whether we are taking from the x-axis. So if that is if this is the theta or if this is the theta. Okay, for our case I'll consider the angle with y-axis. Okay, so in which case this vector can be split into two components. The first component is the what we call as two components called as the sine component and the cos component. Okay, so the component on the side of the axis from which we have taken the angle, that is from this y-axis. Okay, so from y-axis we have taken the angle theta. So this component would be cos component and we write it as a cos theta, and the other component would be actually the sine component and we write it as a sine theta. So this whole vector A is going to be split into the two components a cos theta and a sine theta. Now remember guys, these two are also vectors. Okay, so we need to specify the direction on this one. Okay, and the magnitude of these two vectors are given by this, that is a sine theta and a cos theta. So in case we are defining theta with respect to the x-axis, then this would become the cos component a cos theta and this would become the sine component, that is a sine theta. Okay, so clearing this up, let us get into the motion of a charged particle or a particle or a charge in magnetic field. Now let me draw my coordinate axis. I'm going to name this as x, y and z. Okay, now I'll say I have my magnetic field B along the z-axis. So the magnetic field is in my zy plane. So I can simply draw an imaginary line like this. This is the yz plane and my magnetic field is in this fashion. Okay, just for imaginative purpose. So then I will put a charge q at the origin. Okay, so I now need to study how this charge q moves in this magnetic field B. Okay, so for this I've got three cases, but first since we have defined the Lorentz magnetic force, we know that it is given by charge times the field, that is V cross B. Now this is the vectorial representation of this force. So the magnitude of this Lorentz magnetic force would be Q times VB sine theta. Alright, so you need to remember this equation. This is very important. That is the magnitude of the magnetic Lorentz force. Okay, so now to define the motion of this charge q in this magnetic field, I've got three cases. So let's get on to the first case. We have the first case in which this charge is moving in the same direction as that of the magnetic field. Okay, for instance, I have the magnetic field in this direction, that is z-axis direction. Then my velocity vector, that is the charge, that is the motion of the charge with a velocity v. Then the charge also moving in this same direction as the magnetic field B. Then, okay, I'll have to write the equation above. Let's see, that is FB equals QVB sine theta. Okay, it will be Z. Okay, so if my particle moves in the same direction as that of the magnetic field, then mathematically the angle between these two, that is b vector as well as v vector, is 0, because we see that these two vectors are parallel, okay, are parallel, so the angle between them is 0. So mathematically what happens to the magnetic force? Mathematically the theta becomes 0, so sine of 0 will be 0. So what happens is magnetic force is 0 in this case. What does it mean? Mathematically we have found out that the magnetic force on this particle, if it is moving in parallel or in the same direction as the magnetic field, is 0. Then what does it mean? It means that if we project a particle in the same direction as the magnetic field, it won't experience any force, or it won't experience any deflection. It moves undeflected with the same direction as it was projected. Okay, let's get to the case number 2. Fine. Case number 2. So for the second case, what we do, this is the magnetic field direction, this is the charge. So for the second case, I'm going to project the charge 90 degrees from the magnetic field direction. Okay, I'm going to project the charge in this way, that is a 90 degree from the magnetic field. So mathematically what happens here? Our force will be QVB sine of 90 degrees, and we know that sine of 90 degrees is 1, so our force becomes QVB, and this value is the maximum value that a force, maximum value of the force. Okay, so this is the maximum value of the force. So mathematically what we have here is the force becomes QVB. So now we need to describe how the particle, how the charge moves here. Okay, so in this case we have to again define another axis, that is we know that the direction of the force we need to define here, so that is V cross B, right? V cross B. Applying the screw rule, we see that here, applying the screw rule, it is in the anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise direction means it is moving outward. So the force, my force, magnetic force, is in this direction. Alright, it is along the x-axis here. So now once we have defined the direction of the force, I need to describe how actually the particle moves here. So I have my charged particle here, and it has a velocity in this direction. So the trajectory, I'm going to trace out the trajectory here. I have the charged particle here, and it is going to be moving with a velocity v. So what happens is, it experiences a force Fp given by this magnitude, so it turns around. Okay, but then again, due to the centripetal force, which is balanced by this force, it again revolves, and the motion so continues, making it a circular motion. So in case of theta is equal to 90 degrees, the particle moves in a circular fashion or circular motion. Okay, so now if we need to figure out what is the radius of this circle prescribed by the path, we know that the particle moves in circular motion because the centripetal force balances out this force. So we know that the centripetal force is given by mv square by r. So now if this force balances this, then we have to equate these two forces, which cancels out the v. Then we have solving for r, we have r equals mv by qb, or we know that mv is nothing but the momentum by qb. So that means the radius of the circle prescribed by this charged particle is given by this equation. It's simple. So what happened in the first case was, we have projected the particle parallel to the magnetic field or in the same direction as the magnetic field. So in which case it doesn't experience any force, so it moves undeflected in the same direction. But in the second case, what we did was, we projected it at an angle of 90 degree with the magnetic field, and we saw that it moves in a circular fashion. So in the third and the last case, what we do is, let me take this axis. In the this is the magnetic field. and okay, let me define another axis, x, y, z. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have my charged particle here, q, and I am going to project it at any arbitrary angle theta. Okay, it may be 15 degrees, 16, 17, 30, 40, that is between 0 degrees to 90 degrees. We have covered the 0 degree in the first case, we have covered the 90 degree in the second case. So in the third case, I am going to project the particle at any arbitrary angle between these two values. Okay, let's say at an arbitrary angle theta, and this theta I'm going to take from the z-axis. I'm going to define the theta from the z-axis, that is the magnetic field axis. Okay, this is our velocity vector. I'm projecting the particle in this fashion at an arbitrary angle theta. Okay, so here the theta is variable. So now what happens mathematically? Mathematically, the magnetic field, the magnetic Lorentz force remains as the same equation because we haven't defined theta here. So to solve this dilemma, what we do is we are going to resolve this vector, velocity vector, in its components. Okay, so as I discussed earlier, since theta is taken with this axis, this component would be v cos theta, that is the cos component, and this component would be v sin theta, or the sine component. Okay, so now since we have defined this and we know that the magnetic force is in this direction, okay, the magnetic force is in this direction, we have three forces acting on it. Okay, the one is v sin theta in this direction, one is v cos theta in this direction, that is again remember, these are nothing but velocities. Okay, and the only thing is they are acting in particular directions. Okay, so when we resolve the vector, this vector vanishes and we get these two vectors. So there are three forces acting here: v sin theta in this direction, v cos theta in the z-axis direction, and the magnetic Lorentz force in the x-axis direction. Okay, so now when I project the particle, charged particle, in this fashion, let me trace its trajectory. Okay, I'm going to draw another coordinate system here. So I have my charged particle here and I project it in this fashion. Okay, so since with this force it moves forward, and due to this force Fp, it curls around. But in this third case we have another force, that is v cos theta, which pushes the charged particle upwards. Okay, so what happens is while making a circle, it goes upwards, and in the same fashion it continues and it goes upward. So what this pattern we call it as is a helix. It is sort of a spring-like shape, and the particle we say prescribes a helical motion. Okay, or a helical motion. The particle we say prescribes a helical motion, and the distance between these two rotations, this distance we call it as a pitch. So I hope this is clear. So in the third case, what we did was we projected the particle at an arbitrary angle theta, and we found out that it prescribes a helical motion. So to summarize, in the first case, no change in path, and in the second case we have a circular path. In the third case we have a helical motion. So this is to summarize how a charged particle moves in a magnetic field. In the next topic, we'll see how a charged particle moves in the presence of both electric as well as magnetic field. Thank you.